is 9:40. Helen has an unavoidable doctor's appointment, and Pete's not well enough to be here, so we're all here. So does anybody have any announcements? I do. Lou Franco has submitted an application to be on this committee as of the end of June.
That's
So
great.
I received that.
Cool.
So, Pete is resigning as of the end of June, so there will be a vacancy.
In Vermont. My vacancy.
Okay.
Coming up.
So there will be two.
26 years.
All right. So do we have any comment from the public? Seeing none, we will move on. Do we have any board comment?
I do.
Okay.
Debbie asked me to meet with Beth Walsh, who's the secretary, or she's the director of constituent services for Congressman. And it was about Neshoba Valley Hospital and what was going on. And she was the one who told me, and I guess some people already knew this, that the Neshoba Hospital building is now owned by Apollo Management Group, and they refused to sell it to UMass. So UMass in February published an announcement that they plan to build a new center, an emergency care center in Central Mass. But the catch with that is they have to find the land, they have to submit the proposals to get approval, then they have to build it, and it's probably at minimum a 2-year wait for that to happen. And the other thing that Beth mentioned, and I also read about this in the paper, is that because the ambulances now have to take the residents of the area to further distances to go, there's actually a shortage of ambulatory services for the people who are still needing it in the area. So they're trying to get more staff to cover the ones that do the long distance transport plus the more local transport. And they're seeking to get more money out of the governor. Now, the governor's budget doesn't really have any money in there for emergency care services. So I don't know whether that's going to go through, and it's kind of a, hard sell. So it's at least 2 years. If they're successful in finding land right away, getting the proposal through the government agencies, and then building it. And the emergency care services are stressed to the max, and they don't have the budget really to handle what's going on. So it's not a very good situation for anybody in the area that needs emergency care services. And by the way, I learned from doing a little research on this that the governor last October, had appointed a 32-member committee to study this. Now, how you get anything done with 32 members, I don't know. But that's the committee that's supposed to be trying to promote to get something done. And they did get the announcement of the proposal from UMass, so that's progress. But the other catch is that UMass, as a medical center, does a lot of medical research. And if you've been reading anything about what's going on in Washington, they're having large cuts in medical research. So UMass, I expect, is going to be part of those cuts. So whether those cuts are going to influence the implementation of this emergency care center, I don't know. But it's not a very promising situation by any means. So I don't know if anybody else has any comments.
I can't remember where I saw it, if it was on that Save Neshoba or if it came from Margaret Scarsdale, very recently, that they found a place in Groton,
I hadn't heard that.
and it's going to be opening in Groton, and it would be a 2026 timeframe by the time they were able to open.
Well, that's more than
and I
Beth
forget.
told me, when I met with
Yeah,
her. But it was
but-
almost
but
a
it
month
could have
ago.
been-
Yeah, it might be more recent.
It's been recent. It's been the last few weeks that it was going to be open
Okay.
in Groton. I don't remember where I saw it.
So there's already a facility there, they don't have to build anything?
I think they have to
Retrofit
any
it.
building. See,
Yeah.
the reason the Apollo building was perfect, and the problem with Apollo is they paid an inflated price to all these steward places, and then in turn charged huge rents. And it was a deal that the jerk at Neshoba made out with this Apollo. So if they paid an inflated price, they're not going to sell.
They want their money.
They want their money back.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember, it was a reliable source that I saw that said they were, they have a place in Groton that they are going to
Okay.
open.
And I hadn't seen that.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll look for it.
Okay, it's on the agenda, but as long as this came up, I apologize, I was in Boston and didn't get to see the select board meeting, but I believe something came up. Did anybody see the select board meeting Tuesday night? I think something came up about this. Nobody saw it.
I saw it, but I didn't hear anything. I didn't.
All right. Well, there was something, I was hoping Caesar would be here. He is testifying before the Ways and Means Committee, so good luck to him on that. But anyway, something did come up at the select board meeting, but it wasn't that. It was something else. So I don't know what it was. Anything else? I do have a comment from Helen. She was concerned about, I hope I get this right. She called me when I was at the hospital, so I'm not sure I got this exactly right. I was in the waiting room and it was very loud. But she was concerned about a comment that was made about the fire department, and she wanted to make sure that the public knew that the fire department is always covered, and I don't know how it came out on television, but she wanted to make sure that the public knew that the fire department is always staffed and they do need help, and that
I'm sorry, who reached out to you?
Helen Dalton.
Okay, Helen, yeah,
Dalton. And so that, however, it came across to the public that she wanted to make sure that
You know, it might have been from my minutes. I'm just wondering if I didn't.
some-
We did talk
we
about
did
that.
talk about that, but she wanted to make sure, and I don't want to misrepresent her because
Is
I,
it in the minutes?
Yeah. I don't know. It's on the back. Yeah.
Fire department did have a presentation in front of the FinCom this past few weeks, and,
Yeah, I
and
didn't say to
their
volunteers
process
on that
is they
flat
have
other
the
day.
ambulance fully staffed. And what's happening now, based on information, shared by the fire chief, is that because now it takes much longer to get the ambulance back, we're relying for more calls from the on-call firefighters. So before, we have our ambulance that's fully staffed Monday through Saturday, and I say that smiling because of something else that the chief has requested. So if it took 20 minutes for the ambulance to be back, a lot of the call, or most of the calls, were being attended by our regular staff. But now, with the time of the transportation taking much longer, we're relying more on the on-call. And one thing that I remember from the information that the chief showed us that we need to explore more from the finance committee's perspective is the number of calls have not changed, but the length of the call will have changed. And now we're relying more on the on-call paramedics. So it's a problem in that sense. So yes, we do have the ambulance staff full-time, but that on-call ambulance, on-call firefighters are being used more often because of the longer distance that we need to transport patients.
all right. Any other board comment?
I'll have one, I guess it could have gone on their announcements. The Parks Commission are having a public meeting tomorrow afternoon at the TCP Center to go over the plans for Marshall Park. And that's a town meeting warrant. And there will also be a ballot to fund the renovation of the park. That's always a tricky word. So if anyone wants to attend tomorrow at 7 p.m., I have talked with the chair of the Parks Commission these are a public meeting that's addressed to all of the of the residents. They're gonna have lunch tomorrow and another one on a Saturday. But she is willing, if there is an event here at the COA between now and town meeting, that she can tag along and do the same presentation to seniors, to see what the park is about, what the funding
That's a good
request
idea.
is. And I'll give you, in a quick scope is Marshall Park at some point used to be a center for civic activities and athletic activities for the entire town. Within the recent decades, it has mostly been used for baseball purposes. And in 2019, Bloomberg has a document called Open Space, recreation document that asks, what can we do for open space, recreation? And it was identified that Marshall Park is underutilized because it currently only serves a small segment of the population during a small portion of the year. So we called for a master plan to be created and developed, and then implementation of the master plan. And that's what the Parks Commission did in this past 5 years. And the new master plan, it has a lot of uses, multi-use, multi-generational, it's not just one use. And it's a beautiful plan. So, it adds use from, a mother with a young child that needs a flat space to walk and, is walking around with a playground, to all the way someone who, limited mobility, who cannot walk in a forest or in the woods. And also still uses, the space for baseball as needed, an inclusive playground. But anyway, the presentation has that. So that's what that master plan is. It's really just an expansion of use and accessibility for the park. And the plan right now calls for, and I think I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one, it's going to be excluded that, similar to when we build a new school or a library or a building for the police station. It's $231 extra on taxes per year. So that is the price that will be, on day one all the way to year 18. It remains steady. It's not like an override that cost keeps increasing. And it is replacing debt. We have finished paying some of the buildings that we built in the early 2000s. So if you've been paying your taxes here since year 2000 or so, you're not going to see an increase in your taxes. It's going to be about the same. And that's going to, stay steady that way, all the way through the length of the loan. And she'll probably have more presentation, and hopefully she can come and do a presentation here. So that's, and then the little 3-minute information session about it.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, moving on to minutes. You've all had a chance to look at the minutes.
I wanted to make a change on the back, board comment, and because I think that's where it was misrepresented by me who took the notes. After, the first line, employees 6 days a week, add, it is staffed on Sundays by volunteers. So we know that it is staffed 7 days. So how do we make that change, Deb? I'm not sure.
We vote for the minutes as amended, and they get sent up after we approve them. They don't get sent up until we approve them.
Okay.
To the council. Staffed on Sundays by volunteers gets added to these minutes, and they're sent up after we approve them. They don't get sent up.
Does that give the impression that those people aren't paid, though?
I would say on-call firefighter.
Yeah, on-call is better.
Oh, thank you.
All right. All right, any other comments? Nope. Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the minutes as amended.
Okay,
Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, they passed as amended. So you want to change those minutes? You did them, Jane?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to amend them and then send them up to the town hall as amended. All right. New business. You have a date for Charles Sanderson?
I believe it's May 5th, Monday, May 5th. Let me grab the sheet. Let me grab it.
Okay, so we have a new centurion. I'd like to call him. Charles Sanderson is joining our Century Club. I sort of dropped the ball a little bit on this one, but his son Bob is a classmate of mine, and I spoke with his wife briefly while I was waiting in the hospital, and Deb came up with a date that was mutual to both of them, May 5th at 1 o'clock. I will work on getting the usual plaque for him, but if somebody wants to volunteer to help out with that, I'll give you all the information.
If you have a list of things to do that usually you do it, and just put it in an email and send it to me, I can usually squeeze things in.
Well, I can, I think I've got this, I have a contact over at Eagle Trophy, and it's a pretty standard font, and I think I can get that taken care of. I just have to contact her now because it takes a little bit of time to do that, and then we'll get the name added to the trophy over there. So May 5th at 1 o'clock for Charles Sanderson, and I'll go back in touch with Sue. I'm sure she knows. I told her before she can invite anybody she wants to, and we'll just know how they need to order a cake and get some.
I can help with that stuff too,
Okay.
because you usually do a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
We'll see how that works out. Okay. So, put that on your calendars, and hopefully as many of you as possible can attend that event. He's being feted at a veterans breakfast, so he's going to have a number of celebrations, but his family's been in town, I think, for generations. And his kids all went through school, and his grandchildren all went through high school here, so he's been a prominent citizen for some time. So, yay, Charles. Okay, I asked that the senior healthcare advocacy team be put on here because having had to navigate this healthcare system has been, I'll say challenging, be a good word. And my concern has grown with how to get through all this mess and red tape and having to do a lot on the computers. And it occurs to me that a number of our seniors may be just lost in this jungle of healthcare. And I thought that it might be a good thing if we could possibly do it, to try to offer services. Now, I know there's HIPAA, and I know there's a lot of complications, and I know it gets messy. But if we thought about a way that we could maybe put together a team, I know that Colleen does a lot here with helping out with people that need help, but if we could help her out and help our seniors out, maybe putting together a senior healthcare advisory team, advocacy team, that would do things, simply do things like, and we can't get into personal things, but how do you help fill out the forms that you have to fill out? Maybe a retired nurse that could help with saying, okay, this is the doctor team that you need to call. This is the specialist that you need to call. This is how you help fill out the forms. This is where you need to go. When I get through this mess, I would be happy to volunteer some hours just to help people get through this. Even somebody who's just a
available to listen to how to get through this, because it's a nightmare. And I know that a lot of our seniors don't even have an advocate, don't even have somebody to get through this. And the healthcare system is not easy, to say the least. It's very complicated, and I would imagine that there are people that just quit because it's too hard.
Mhm.
So I would love to entertain your ideas about how we can help our seniors. If you have any thoughts about what we can do to make it a little easier, maybe just be available to talk about experiences and give ideas. And it wouldn't be a HIPAA violation, but just to say.
As long as they sign something, the problem is each facility has their own form.
Right.
Because like every doctor my mother has, I'm on there as I can be her proxy.
Right.
Every insurance company. So it could be a matter of when you go to help them, you just go to the facility's website and get the authorization, have the patient sign saying you can help them. It could be that simple that would avoid your HIPAA thing. Because I think the problem is like every doctor now wants you to use the patient portal.
Right. How do they do
My
that?
mother can't use a patient portal. My mother can't use
I
a cell
can't
phone.
use it. It
Right,
never works
right.
out for me.
You know, this new, every doctor you need to register online when they call to tell you, get it. That's
Exactly.
gonna be the thing. It's, they're not computer literate.
Right. How do we help them? How do we reach out? How do we do that? Are there volunteers, are there people that we can help them navigate this? Because people that aren't on phones, aren't on computers, how do we address that? So maybe for the next meeting, if you could come up with some ideas, or if you know anybody in the healthcare field that's maybe retired or part-time that willing to help us put together a team. I know Pauline, you know, that could be a 200-hour week job.
Oh, yeah.
But I just think, having gone through this nightmare, that if there's anything we can do to help our elders, anything you can think of.
I think it's an excellent idea. I think we should definitely pursue it. And sometimes it's not so much even the technical forms and stuff, it's just listening. And being, you know, an empathetic listener as to what's going on within their lives regarding the healthcare system. So I'm all for it, and I actually would volunteer to be on that committee. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's bounce that around next time. Please come back with some ideas. Maybe somebody to head it up, maybe somebody, if you're out there in TV land and you know something about navigating this broken medical system and volunteer and have some ideas, please reach out to somebody in the council or somebody here at the center. I think we need to help our seniors because it's a difficult road.
I know some health insurers, they do have a healthcare advocate as part of their offering. I wonder if that is a process that already we can mimic for those functions within the healthcare. Like the healthcare insurance, some of them, they do offer that services. So in terms of process, is this form of that, if they have a process that we can then simply replicate internally and we can more quickly deploy this idea of yours, which is great.
Yeah.
I went to the Medicare session they had with the volunteers that were helping people navigate the Medicare system, and it was really well attended. This whole room was full, and the questions were excellent. And the volunteers, you know, they were volunteering their service at no cost, and people couldn't believe it. You know, you're going to help me get through this. And so I think there are people out there that we could contact and have sessions here. But I was really surprised at how many people showed up for that Medicare session.
Yeah.
And I learned stuff that I didn't know either.
I also know Tufts Medicare Preferred, anybody that has Tufts, they used to have a program under a company called Landmark that we used. They were wonderful. And I don't know if you had to have certain medical conditions to qualify for this, but my mother qualified. They would come right to the house. They would send nurses to the house, so I didn't have to take her out to the doctors. And They checked in with you, they did all that, and they got rid of the landmark, but Tufts is picking it up on their own. And I have a nurse that calls me once a month, maybe, once every other month. I want to say it's once a month. How are things? Do you need anything? Does she need anything? And she's very much for the caregiver also. She keeps saying, I'm calling for you too, if you need anything. Being a caregiver is hard. And so there is stuff out there, and I'm sure she would help with that kind of stuff if you needed it. But anybody that has Tufts, this is a service that they offer. And it really is fantastic. Right now, they don't have this landmark nurses, but they have another group that will come in. They send paramedics. So if my mother woke up sick this morning, her doctor is only in the office so many days, and she's one of those, I only want my doctor, and she doesn't want to go out of the house. If I call, they will send someone right to the house. And one time when I called Landmark, they came to the house. She called 911. We were having a congestive heart failure event. She waited until the ambulance came, helped get her boarded, and sent us off. So it really is a wonderful service.
These things are wonderful for the public to know, so this is
Well,
the
that's,
kind
a lot of people don't
information-
know about it.
Right, and this is the kind of information that we can gather and make available to the seniors, so
Yep.
if we can get this all put together and get a volunteer program, this is fantastic, thank you. So for next time, if we can expand on this, that would be great, thank you. Okay, the second floor space, we need more space, I guess, Deborah's bringing in some more programs. Do we have any further information on getting up there with an elevator or anything in the
Yeah,
plans?
no, it would, I mean, we would need to have a study done, and that's at a cost.
Right.
Chris, it's not on this year's capital plan meeting, but it will probably be on next year's.
Okay.
And then they can look at, like I said, getting the specs and seeing the cost and see if it's a feasibility study, see if it's even feasible to do.
Okay, so,
This year we're getting floors,
okay,
which is great.
all right.
So all the flooring, all the red rugs that you see that are filthy, rotten, dirty, will be replaced with laminate flooring throughout the whole building.
I have a suggestion. In order to officialize this, can we have a motion and a vote to request the facilities department in Lunenburg to request an elevated study in their FY27 capital plan? So basically what I'm saying, can we officialize as the council on aging that we are requesting that to be put on the facilities department request for next year?
Well, it's on the agenda, so you make a motion.
Okay, I make a motion to request the facilities department to add a feasibility study for access to the second floor in the Eagle House building for the FY25 capital plan requests.
Via an elevator.
Well,
It's a Lula lift, it's
Oh,
not as
lift?
invasive as an
Okay.
elevator.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put lift in then.
yeah, so, access to the second floor, so they,
Hot air balloon,
because that's
whatever.
Would
that's
it,
the feasibility study.
Yeah.
Okay.
would it be for 2026?
Yeah.
No, it's
2027.
27, okay.
Yeah, because this year's plan is for
Do I hear a
26.
second?
Right.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, well, we can,
All right.
but Chris, I'll be here long.
All right, okay. All right, that's why it's on the agenda, so we can vote on these things.
Yeah, it does make a big difference because there, government, especially town government, is messy, and there's good parts of that. And the good parts of it is that it allows us to have these have these requests and follow up, so that, it can prompt, we have a very cooperative team within the town side, but it does allows us a way to participate in that process.
Okay, so how does that work formally now that we have a formal request? is that written up and submitted?
So we can, you can send Chris an email and say, hey, Chris, I just want to let you know that we, as a commission, as a
Board.
council,
Yeah.
have requested that this item be put on your FY27 capital plan
Okay.
request. Please let me know if you need any further details as to explain, blah, blah. And we'll be following up with you.
All right.
And I would CC the town manager on that, because that's, so she's aware of your request. And we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you. It's great to get these things in the works ahead of time. All right, does that have to come from Deborah?
No, because we did a
From
vote.
us?
I would send an email from you to Chris, CC, Jennifer, and Deb.
And he's already aware that the conversation's been had.
Right.
Right.
It's not a
Better be formal.
And
All right.
also, it helps when they get to the capital plan committee and to the finance committee, that they, you know, we, as a council on age, we represent the will of the people, right? We are the appointed people to be here requesting for people. So when these committees, they are approving these things, at the end of the day, it is a capital plan and the finance committee and the select board, they are approving these things. So when they know these requests are coming from the council, they know that, you know, there is a people side to this, and it just reinforces the request.
Thank you. It's nice to know how to get that edge in there. All right. COA fiscal year 26 budget. Do we have any updates on that?
We went back and forth on it, on a few different items. We actually, if you look at your sheet that you have, we ended up with an increase of about $20,000. But with that increase came some gains and some losses. So we're going to lose the part-time outreach worker assistant, but we're going to gain 2 of the kitchen aides, and we're going to have a full-time meal plan manager. So we're going to be able to offer a lot of nutritional programs and be able to accommodate for the needs of the seniors as far as meals and programs. They did increase the program budget as well.
Can you tell me what the columns are? We don't have it.
Yeah, I don't know, it didn't print out on there. and
Sure.
I actually don't have that one in front of me. Oh, yes, I do. I believe, so the one that is the 241,000 is this year.
It's the 25,
Yeah.
okay?
26 would be the 261.
Okay.
And the next column, I believe, is the difference.
Okay.
So it's an increase of $31,059.
Okay.
So we're losing Lorianne.
I know, that's too bad.
Lorianne has spoken with the town manager and HR. She has agreed to come in and volunteer when needed. She will still be, attending programs and coming in and helping us out. So that was very nice of her.
Yeah.
How is that going to affect Pauline?
It's going to be okay. A lot of what Lorianne was doing was data-based. She was in the computer updating records, things like that, which we'll be able to take care of.
Okay. So in the FY27 plan, would there be any attempt to get that position back?
No. FY27, we're going to look to hire a program coordinator.
Okay.
So there's a whole, the town manager had asked us to put what we thought the needs would be for 2027. And so we put together, I can print this out for you, what I presented to her.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yep. And then Basically, the first thing I requested was $5,000 for a meal site. Because right now, they're paying $5 for a meal, and it might cost us $7. So we're absorbing that other 2, but I don't know from where, because there's no meal site line, there's no meal budget. So some meals might be, $3 and they're paying $5, so it might offset each other. So it's all going into the revolving account now, and we can keep track of what is happening with that. But it's good to have that $5,000 as a buffer so that we can continue charging $5 and not have to increase that. The second would be for a program coordinator. Currently, the director fills this role. So in addition to all of the budgetary, all of the supervisory, all of the looking for grants, all of the jobs of a director, I'm also calling the bus company, calling the authors, setting up programs, the newsletter, doing all of, set up, take down, organizing it all, following up with it. So a program coordinator is vital for that role. And then that would allow me to look for more funding, apply for grants, and do some other things. Basically, I just said this COA needs a program coordinator. Currently, the director has filled this role. Program coordinator researches new programming ideas for the COA. This position entails not only researching new ideas of programming, but also obtaining and providing for these programs for the seniors. The program coordinator books vendors and activities within the COA's budget line, program line budget. The program coordinator is responsible for the monthly newsletters and social media. The program coordinator handles the setup and takedown and cleanup of all programs. The program coordinator purchases supplies needed for the programs and is responsible for ensuring that all programs are executed in a timely manner so as not to run into other scheduled programming. Program coordinator would allow the director to fulfill the role of director instead of director/program coordinator. The director would have the time to research grants and alternative funding, handle more of the day-to-day operations, budgetary needs, projects, financial responsibilities, oversee personnel and their needs, and many other various duties that are the sole responsibility of the director. The program coordinator would also cross-train to cover for the meal site manager when needed. Currently, the director is responsible for covering for the meal site manager position. The cost of funding this position would be approximately $44,000 a year at 36 hours a week. Job description would need to be created and would need to be approved. The position would need to be advertised and interviews would be held.
So this was presented for FY '26?
7.
7.
This 26 is done. What you have in front of you is what's going to town meeting. So this would be what you're voting on for this year. This would be in the future. I was asked to give it to them that day. I had 2 hours to do it.
This was
But
presented.
I gave this to town meeting. We were asked at a meeting to give this to them for
Okay.
2 hours.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. Okay,
So,
all right.
I did put on here, I don't know if there's the need, but I did include, thirdly, there's the need for an outreach director, outreach coordinator, assistant director, outreach coordinator. This would be a title change along with a minimal salary increase. In the absence of the director, the role of the director falls to the outreach coordinator. As assistant director, outreach coordinator, this position would have the training and responsibilities of the director when necessary. This role would be beneficial as this person would be trained to perform the duties of the director in their absence, such as decision-making, payroll, financials, etc. This would be a grade increase. Currently, the outreach position is grade 8, the director position a grade 14. So the new combined position of outreach, assistant director, outreach coordinator would fall somewhere between these grades. Based on the middle grade, this request would be approximately a $7,600 salary increase.
So that would be Pauline's current position?
Yeah, would be assistant director, outreach coordinator.
And there'd be no support for that position
in
that
this
you
one?
eliminated for Lori Ann's position?
Yep.
Was the support for that, there would be no support for that?
And not in this, what I presented.
Okay. All right. I think it would be helpful for us to have a copy
Yeah, I'll
of that.
make a copy.
Okay, thank you. All right.
town manager coming in, the way the budgets were presented this year, the DPW director presented his budget, and then 10 minutes later, the new town manager presented her budget, which contradicted his budget, which did not include pavement management. And we were like confused, and she's like, I'm just trying to put things together so I can see, you know, like the time frame of the new town manager coming in and trying to get all these things. But, you know, we have a year to sync everything.
Well, and also, I mean, my first day was December
Yeah,
27th.
right, no, of course.
So I don't have a good grasp on what the needs
Right.
are here.
And hers were like February something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this year it was everywhere. It was like the pavement, literally Bill learned that the pavement mention was not going to be included on the budget, the overall town budget. I think shortly before the finance meeting before. So it's been a challenge.
Next year, I'll have a better grasp
Of
on if
course,
there is a
yeah,
need
of
for
course.
an outreach assistant
Of
or
course.
anything else.
So we'll get there.
Yep.
We have good people in the
Yep.
job.
Okay, great. Okay, so we talked about Charles Sanderson above. The Veterans Breakfast on Friday is honoring him for his 100 years as a World War II veteran. So he's getting 2 awards, which he certainly deserves. That's a little different from our Century Club, as you know. So we don't have a financial report, because we had one at the last meeting. And Susan, thank you for your update on the Neshoba Valley Medical Center. And I'm going to keep this on the agenda because I think it's something that we should try to stay on
Absolutely.
top of. And if anybody gets any more information, please bring it. The master plan at last is meeting on tomorrow. Hopefully. I haven't seen that we have a quorum yet, so I'll let you know what's going on with that. The 300th Anniversary Committee is meeting the end of the month, so I'll let you know on that. Parking lot update. Do you have any update on that? I went to Chris Ruth, and there it sits in the budget for 26th. Have you heard anything from the family on it?
No, but they are on board.
Is there a time when they're gonna open that time capsule that we
So-
know of?
And the goal was to open it 20 years, which is FY, like, in 2026, not
Okay.
FY 26.
Okay, so it's next year that they're opening.
It's not, yeah, it's like a year and a half from now.
Okay.
And, yeah, they're on board, they understand what's going on. They're like, I always knew they are not, you know, they wouldn't stop anything. Like,
Okay.
especially with the goal of improving life, no, they're fine.
All right,
Once
so-
we have the plans, and when Chris presented the capital plan, his capital plan request, I did ask about the playground, the plans, and I'll mention something because I don't know if this idea has been floated here, but correct me if they have. At some point, someone in the capital plan committee suggested, what if we move the playground to where the where the little add-on playground parking is, right next to the teen center, and then we have, you know, continuous parking versus trying to do teen center parking, Eagle House parking, and playground, right? So then we move it there, which is more at a street level with the teen center. And then all the parking would be localized right next to. So I asked Chris Ruth if that's one of the plans that he would be exploring. And he said that once he has the money, whoever he hires is to really have a, you know, first come up with a conceptual design of where things fit best. So it would be interesting to watch it, and I'll keep an eye on making sure that these plans are presented to us.
All right, on to our director's report.
So things are just getting busier and busier. It was funny because Michelle was saying, you know, we used to have time to rest before you came here. The kitchen is almost complete. Everything is going well. Like I said, the cast iron pipe was relined, so that's being taken care of. They're updating the electrical, the hooking up tomorrow should be a majority of everything, like closing it up. The painting's been done, the floor is done. They're going to, just like I said, tie up the electrical, the plumbing, and all of that tomorrow. So after tomorrow, it should be complete. I just knocked on wood.
And he just came in.
Also too, this here, if you look up, we have our shades.
We can't see him from here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we have our shades now, so the room can be used for movies and the speakers talking, the sun's not gonna be right into their face. A lot of
It's
different
nice, it
things.
made a difference.
Yeah, especially like I said, if you're the speaker and you're trying to talk with the sun, because in the afternoon it comes in that one.
Right.
So it does make a huge difference. And it's not just there, it's the top ones too. So the top ones have shades as well, and they can go right over the lower ones. So it double darkens it in here, so it's really cool, and we thank the Lincolns for that.
I was just gonna say,
That was
thank the
very
Lincolns.
historic. And then, like I said, we do have a lot of programs coming up. I'm just finishing the May newsletter, and basically, May is Mental Health Month, so we're doing a lot with mental health. We also have a talk on ticks, because it's that season where you gotta be careful, Lyme disease and all
They're
of that.
back.
Yeah, so we have that going on. And then we're doing some specials on Thursdays with lunch. So the first of May is Cinco de Mayo. So we're gonna have a special Cinco de Mayo lunch. The 8th, we're gonna have a special celebrating our moms lunch. And then we have, on the last one, we have a special barbecue, because it's right before Memorial Day, and the fire department's gonna cook for us.
It's
So we
nice.
have the fire department coming then. We do have the Century Club on the 5th. We have all different other things coming in. We have the Eagle House meeting, we have birthday celebration. Every first Tuesday of the month is our birthday celebration. So if your birthday's that month, you just call us and sign up for lunch. Your lunch is free and we'll celebrate you. So just a lot of different things like that. And we are planning in June, I forgot to tell you this. We were able to get 2 passes for Tower Hill Botanical Gardens. So we purchased those. Each pass lets in 3 people. So if you
Nice.
borrow both passes, you can go with 6 people. Or if it's just you and 2 others or 1 other, you can borrow 1 pass. And that is free, it's for general admission into Tower Hill. And we are going to have in May floral arrangement. So we're going to make some spring bouquets or Mother's Day bouquets. We also have a new program once a month. Karen Menard's going to do crafts with Karen in the afternoon. So this coming in May, they're going to do these beautiful dry flower mason jar vases. We also have therapy gardens coming. They're going to do famous dishes and lost restaurants of New England. It's a trivia. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we do
That's
have,
fun.
like I said, the Veterans Breakfast, all of that. We're looking at having the author of the book Duped come, because we're looking to do a bus trip to Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston.
Ooh.
So
Oh, I'd like to do that.
This
Yeah.
gentleman is from Marlborough, and he wrote a book called Duped, and it's on the heist. So we're looking to have him come. We also have Senior Connections that's going to come on May 16th with their care bus, which you can go in and talk to a nurse. You can get your blood pressure, your glucose checked. You can just ask questions. It's just a nice little service that they offer. We also have some lunches. The Century Club, we talked about that. Our regular fitness and cribbage and all of that's still going on. We have the book club, the writers group. And then, like I said, we're going to talk about some mental health resources. So that's what we're looking at for May. And then, like I said, the trip to Boston would be in June.
I remember that.
Okay, then this is a brand new Band-Aid that we're gonna rip off right now. One of our employees, who is amazing, very much loved, is going to be volunteering with us from now on. She gave her 2-week notice this morning, so, this is going on TV, hopefully she doesn't watch it. We are going to celebrate her on the 18th of April at 10 o'clock? At 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, Elsa Watson. She is, I'm not afraid to give you her age, because she'll tell you her age. She's 92. And she's said she's ready to retire, but we made her promise that she's gonna come in once a week and water all the plants and some of the other things that just keep her coming in. So like I said, so that just happened like an hour or so ago, so it's still new.
So I'm sure you all know Elsa, so make every effort to be here because she is such an incredibly special person.
Okay.
Deb, can I just comment on something? In terms of activities, someone called me, it was a friend that does a lot of felting, and she runs classes and stuff.
Yeah, we are having felting. Is it this month?
And I don't know how you found the person you did, but is there a way that maybe she could become involved?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Have her give me a call. We have felting on April 16th, and that was brought to us because we had a meeting over at River Court, and they had a felting person there. And Pauline and Michelle, they'll show you, they're in their offices, they did felting.
Yeah.
They enjoyed it. And they actually have the woman who did it there at River Court.
Oh,
is
okay.
coming. So that's how that came about. But yeah, we definitely love to have other artists.
What was
Okay.
that date?
April 16th at 5.
Okay. Any other comments? And we have our wonderful Eagle House supporter person here. Anything to report?
Just a few things. We're working on a new logo for our letterheads and our brochures. We're going to have, when the brochures are approved, they're going to be placed at the LAAC and other facilities. We finally got Venmo, so people can donate by Venmo. We're finalizing the March fundraising letter to go out for our fundraisers. And we're excited to be a part of the LBA May 10th fair. And on that note, we want to thank Lynn Walsh, one of our volunteers, for supplying an ice cream truck for us. So that's a lot going on. We have a meeting tomorrow. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're off to a running start, that's for sure. Thank you so
Great
much.
try.
That's great. Are you at, what you think is full membership, or are you still looking for members?
Oh, no, always looking for members.
Okay, I want to get that out to the public. If you want to
Always
volunteer
members.
to be a fundraiser for us, help us out, contact one of the Eagle House supporters. Do you want to tell who they are so they can contact you? Your people to contact, if people want to get
That's what
involved?
contact you?
If they want to call here, we can.
If they, I was going to say, if you want to tell LAC,
Okay.
they'll direct us to one of us.
All right.
One thing, I'll
What was
suggest,
the ice cream?
maybe.
Wait, it's at the vendor fair, the LBA and the vendor fair?
Okay.
May
May-
Walsh is,
Oh, and then maybe.
That was
even
May
like a
10th?
Quick note on that.
I don't know, I didn't write that down.
I think it's May 10th.
You know,
I'll ask.
man the table
She's
or,
providing the
you know,
ice cream truck.
something simple.
Oh.
Because usually when people ask, can you help us on this activity? They go, what are you gonna ask me to do? So if you put it on the newsletter, this is what we do, and, a typical activity would be, you'd be participating on is blah, 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 and then they would know if that fits their life,
Yeah,
and you
that's
might
a-
get
that's a
them,
great idea.
because I know, the Lions, they're very successful on recruiting volunteers. That's usually what they do, they have a very large membership, but they ask you to do very little to develop it here.
Right.
So that's
So
a
you
good
were
way.
featured in our last newsletter with contact information in that as well. But
Yeah,
also, if anybody's out there also, just so they know, the Eagle Health supporters are huge for us because they're the ones that are going to keep the trip costs down. They're the ones that are going to keep the program costs down. Their funding is vital to what we do.
yeah.
So, thank you. And thank you out there, if you're thinking about volunteering, come on down.
Absolutely.
All right. Any notices or communications? Anybody hear anything? Anybody want to step up with that? All right. Any board comments? All right. It is 10:36. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
I jumped the gun.
No, you did.
No, you do need to sign.
No, you do need to second.
I know, but she's supposed to ask for comment first.
No, the second, then the comment.
You did good.
You were perfect.
Okay.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all for being here on this wonderful snowy day.
Look at
I know.
that.
I know. It's snowing out there.
We are officially adjourned, so thank you.
Susan?